Welcome back to AI for Founders. I'm Royan Estes. Today's guest is Royan Nidea, founders of Setters Philippines, company that scaled to millions in revenue by helping coaches, consultants, and B2B founders book more calls, publish more content, and land more clients. Royan has built a machine that can generate $16 million from just 4,000 emails, and he's here to break down the exact systems, strategies, and mindset that make that possible. If you're a founder who wants to crack the code on cold email, LinkedIn outreach, and building a predictable pipeline without burning yourself out, this conversation is for you. We're talking about the playbook for scaling to $100,000 months, the mistakes that nearly broke him, and the habits that keep him sharp. Big numbers, bigger lessons, and a ton of actionable takeaway. Let's dive in. But first, some business. This episode is brought to you by Kitcaster, the easiest way for founders to get booked on podcasts. Think about it. Your customers, your investors, your future partners, they're already listening to podcasts. Kitcaster puts you in front of those audiences with the credibility and intimacy that only podcast interviews deliver. No more cold outreach, no more chasing the algorithm, just you, your story, and a microphone on the shows your audience already trusts. I've seen firsthand how Kitcaster takes founders from unknown to unforgettable, building thought leadership, fueling deal flow, and stacking conversations. So if you're ready to make conversations your growth engine, head to kitcaster.com and get booked today. That's Kitcaster by MoBurst. Okay, everyone loves to talk about vision, the pitch, the funding round, but you know what gets zero love? The actual product build. That magical, terrifying phase where nothing works, the docs are out of date, and you've asked your dev team, how's it going, for the 47th time today on Slack. That's where Code Story comes in. It's a podcast for startup founders who know that building the thing is the thing. Hosted by Noah Labhart, Code Story goes deep with tech leaders who've been through it, shipping real products, surviving messy launches, and figuring out what actually works and when you're on the edge of chaos. If you're building now or ever plan to, you'll want these stories in your earballs. Search Code Story wherever you get your podcasts or visit codestory.co, because founders talk vision, but builders tell code stories. Royan, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Never been better, boss. We're both wearing black, so it's good.
Black t-shirt gang, that's what's up.
Excited for this show. I hope everyone's having a great day, and we're going to have a great show, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now, what some folks might not know is that I built a $10 million business completely with cold outbound. So I consider myself an outbound kind of expert, largely just out of dire need, and the game has changed dramatically. And when I have a question about outbound, I come to Royan. So I really appreciate you coming on the show, talking to us. Introduce us a little bit to your business.
It's such a pleasure to be here. So let me tell you a little bit more about business. We are a company that specializes in helping businesses book calls with their prospects and turn that into content to also help them build their personal brand. So we specialize in a podcast method.
Podcast method. Let's talk about that.
Yes. Well, if you're not familiar with podcast method is basically a strategy wherein instead of, sending sales pitches to your target customer, you invite them into your podcast to build a relationship with them, and then later on add value to them and move into a sale. So it's a great way to get people in front of you, especially nowadays that it's becoming very harder and harder to, book meetings with your potential clients. Yeah.
100%. I mean, I've been doing it for longer than 10 years. Some of my best friends come from podcast guests. I've had client relationships. I've been able to make referrals. I love the podcast method. If you're promoting that as kind of a lead gen source, I think that's fantastic. It's a lot more work, than just getting a call on the calendar, for sure.
Yes.
But if you genuinely care, I think it can be like a fantastic strategy, particularly if you're in kind of a give first mode. Like when I'm at my best, I feel like I'm having a great podcast and it's like, hey, what can I do for you? Like, what's an introduction? Who's a person? Who are you dying to see? I love the podcast method. So basically, instead of like cold outbound saying, hey, look at my company, they're like, hey, I have a podcast with this kind of audience. I'd love to have you on and see if there's something here.
Absolutely. And that was a great point. You said it. You have to be authentic and sincere about it. Because if you're only going to do it just like, for the sake of like closing a sale, the prospect or the person that you're building a relationship with is going to notice that. And it's not really going to work like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully you got a little bit of care in there about getting better at the craft. Now, people start out all the time, and most people start out, it's pretty rough getting going on podcasting, but if you keep doing it, you get better. And if you like it, you're the kind of person that, enjoys conversation, then I think it's a great tool, for introductions for sure. Also because there's something about recording it or streaming and it's live that puts little butterflies in your belly. It lends itself to improvisation. If I'm on a sales call and someone's giving me their demo, I'm going to be like kind of half tuned out and be like, dude, just get to the point I asked for. I don't want, I don't need to hear your grandma's history. Like, come on, like, let's get to the point. So, but a conversation, you turn your phone off, you turn email off, you're
Yes.
engaged. And so you get a chance to connect. I love it.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. So let's talk about some of your services because I know that you use a lot of different tools in the stack. Maybe just talk about some of the tools that you're very custom or are very fluent with.
Well, we use mainly cold email marketing
Mhm.
to get people to become a guest. And one of the tools that I love so much is Instantly, because it allows us to contact, send 10,000, 20,000 emails a day. And when we get to a point where we contact like 100,000 leads and we have like 5,000, 10,000 people who are interested to become a guest, all we have to do after that is like, pre-qualify the guest hard so that the guests are not just like a guest, they are also potential clients for the business. Have you used Instantly before?
Boy, and you help me set it up. What are you talking about? Yeah.
And it's a great tool. It is a great tool. And of course, let's not forget Sales Navigator. If any one of you wants to learn how to scrape or wants to scrape hundreds of thousands of emails at a very, very minimal cost, I would highly recommend using Sales Navigator and Expandy. So Expandy is a LinkedIn automation tool, but a feature of it that is actually not being marketed as part of its feature is to export the data out of Sales Navigator, which means you can get the emails, the phone numbers, the LinkedIn profiles of your target customer from Sales Navigator. And you could do a lot of things from there. You can call them, email them, contact them via LinkedIn. Yeah.
Expanding. You have to do kind of searches of 2,500 at a time, right? Isn't that kind of their cutoff?
Yes, yes. You would be able to do about 25 searches per day. So one search would be able to so Sales Navigator, you can extract about like 2,500 data
Mhm.
and about 25 searches. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And it's a great method, especially if people really understand their ICP and they want to dive into, cold outbound. Now, what I've been seeing is the step I do in between two is I'll pull from Sales Navigator, go to Expandy, and then go to Hunter and really validate and verify all the emails just because email deliverability is harder than ever. And
Absolutely.
what I wanted to ask you specifically is it seems like my Instantly campaigns have really tanked. Like I having a very hard time getting into the inboxes. Now, have you noticed anything in the last couple of months?
It is. It is just recently. I think that as we move forward, the email algorithm will become stricter and stricter. So if you have good infrastructure set up and you already have a good target list, um, it would be possible. One thing, if it was doing well and then suddenly it's not, it's possible that your domains have already been burned out. So so you can now start looking into like creating new domains. That's number one. Number two, what you can do as well is rotate your emails. So if you have like 100 emails in your tech stack, use 50 for this month, and then the other 50 use it for next month. So you rotate the emails so that they don't burn out. And then one thing that you said about cleaning them, one tool that I love to use is Million Verifier. So always try to clean up your emails. It's worth it. It's an extra cost, but it's totally worth it.
You bet.
Yes.
So you're seeing kind of similar issues with Instantly, like recently. Like it looks like
Yes.
it's just getting harder and harder to push them through. And probably for good reason. I mean, nobody likes spam. However, if
Mhm.
you can have a very compelling message and a compelling offer and it gets dumped into your email, I mean, I
Yeah.
respond to like one, two of those a week. It's just like the perfect timing. If it lands, then it really works. So
Exactly.
if just to back up a little bit, if people have no idea what we're talking about like giant email campaigns where you might buy 300 domains, put 3 email addresses on each domain. So you have 900 email addresses sending 10,000 emails a day is kind of what the scale we're talking about.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're talking about millions of emails sent per month, and this is where like deliverability comes in, because if you have good deliverability and you can land in the inbox, like talk about a million emails, you have 50% deliverability. That means 500 emails went in the inbox. And what you were saying about, so Ryan, about, the compelling message. So for me, landing in the inbox and making your cold email marketing works is simply three things, right? So it's like a triangle. You start with your infrastructure, right? Proper DNS, proper emails, all that stuff. Second is the lead list, right? So um, depending on the target customer, the deliverability, or not really so deliverability, the reply rate would also change if you look at it from that perspective. The third one is the strategy. So just like what you said, the compelling offer. So but it's more of like the strategy, right? So if your strategy is to just send a direct pitch, like, hey, are you looking for we are the best, like this and like that, you would have a different um, result if you are doing a lead magnet, which is, hey, we've helped this company do this and do that. Would you like me to send you a copy, or like a documented case study of it? And on top of that, you would also have a different result if, again, you use um, a podcast method. Like this is basically an interview method, because it doesn't always have to be podcast. It could be like an interview for like a book that you're writing. It could be like an interview for a white paper you're writing, or again, it could be an interview for a podcast. Those different kinds of approaches and strategies would get you different types of results, and it would also depend on like what industry you are, and it would be a good fit. Yeah.
Love that. And it also just implies that the person reaching out does have value to add. It's just not simply a pitch where you're getting hammered with a demo and, 17 follow-ups. I think that style just doesn't really work anymore, especially
Yes.
with kind of if we're talking about SaaS and B2B, most of that's successful is kind of AI driven in the background where you just click a button and it just works. There's not a lot to demo these days. But of course there is. For sure. And we have to do this outreach largely because it works, so whether it's, Apple Mail or it's, Microsoft or it's, Google Workspace, they're trying to clamp down more and more, largely because of bad actors. Unfortunately, there's people out here selling fake Viagra pills to everyone. And it's like, dude, you're blowing it, man. For people that really want to target well, you can't just spray and pray with some, snake oil type products. And we just see it time and time again. Let's keep talking about tools. What are some other good tools? Now, one I've been looking at is kind of to know when you've cooked a domain or cooked an email and how to switch them out. Do you have a favorite kind of like email hygiene tool?
That we use, no, not really. Like what we've seen is that the best way to actually take care of the emails is do it manually, which is kind of like probably not something that people want to hear. And if something that want to be delegated, there are companies out there that specialize on this kind of stuff already. Like they only they only do deliverability. You could get emails from them. They will focus on doing the deliverability, and you can focus on sending emails. And it's also kind of like the certain level of tools that when you stack it up, like using Clay to have enriched data and looking for companies. For example, if you're a company who helps companies with lead generation, you can look for companies who's currently hiring SDRs. And if you use that data point as part of your message, then it of course gives you better results. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you using a tool for your to make your emails clean all the time?
I'm not, I just kind of guess I just take Instantly's word for it. If it says like, oh, we've turned this one off from warm-ups for XYZ reasons. And I'm just kind of like, okay. I mean, but I know there are tools that do exactly that, that will watch and it'll show you like which emails so you can like build more on top of the domains and stuff. It's a really frustrating kind of cat and mouse game. If there was like a premium you could pay for outbound. I mean, wouldn't that be cool if you could be like, look, I'll give you $1,000 a month just so verified, and you can see the emails I'm sending and why. Like it's all above board.
That would be great. I don't want to think about deliverability anymore, So I just want to send emails. And like one thing that could help you get the results that you want as well is to, at the end of the day, it's all about making your emails credibility high, right? So you can do a little bit of things on how you approach your copy, like of course using spin tags, where the words needs to be changed every time you send it. You cannot never send the same message with same words. That's number one. Number two, encourage the prospect to respond even if it's a no, because the more reply you get, the more
better,
the better credible. So it's like even if it's a no, you try to get the no, right?
yeah.
And sometimes, so when I am trying to get my deliverability high, there's also this part where if someone said no, I would even ask them for a feedback on what I can improve in my campaign so that I can get more responses.
Just keep the dialogue going. Yeah.
Even if it's a no, right? So these are little things that you can change, of course, especially as part of like, not sending any links. Don't just, ask them to unsubscribe and click a link, because of then you'll be losing people who would respond no. All that stuff, it helps with the deliverability. And if you're doing 1 million a month emails, it's, it can go bananas. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's up. Yeah, I'm trying to think like inviting a million people a month to this podcast. I would never leave this chair. We'd just be doing podcast interviews all day long. Kind of sounds awesome, honestly.
That would be great. I do have clients that, in part of their process, delegated the interview so that they can do a ton of. So there's this company we're working with. They want 200 interview calls, like podcast calls with their target customer. And then there's also another layer where those team that would be doing the interview would then pass it to the like sales closer that would then of course add the value. So simply, if you look at it from a perspective of execution, from discovery to demo to closing, this one is interview, add value, closing.
Love it.
Which becomes it becomes so smooth and becomes powerful. You either close them, you don't lose anything. The person you meet via the interview could be a partner, could be like a referral person. It could just be a connection, a good one.
Yeah.
And it could be a client. You don't lose anything because you're not you're just trying to, help people, not make money out of it all the time. Yeah.
Now I can tell you this can also go wrong. Hey everybody, you know what's crazy? I've been sitting on a gold mine this entire time and I didn't even know it. My Gmail inbox, literally thousands of warm contacts who already know and trust me. But here's the problem every founder faces. How do you turn those relationships into revenue without feeling like a sleazy salesperson? That's exactly why I've been using warmstart.ai. And honestly, it's been a game changer for my business. This AI platform connects your email, analyzes all your existing contacts, and helps you identify who in your network might actually be interested in what you're doing. Then it writes personalized outreach messages that don't sound robotic or pushy. The best part, you review every single message before it goes out. No spray and pray nonsense. This is relationship-based selling done right. My listeners know I only recommend tools I actually use, and Warmstart has literally helped me reconnect with people I'd lost touch with and turn those conversations into real business opportunities. If you're a founder struggling with outreach, check out warmstart.ai and use code AIFF to get $50 off your first month. Trust me, your existing network is worth way more than you think. This episode is brought to you by MoBurst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. MoBurst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product market fit or ready to accelerate growth, MoBurst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At MoBurst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, MoBurst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At MoBurst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to MoBurst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together. Because, my company, Kitcaster, we book people on other people's podcasts, and we work largely with funded startup founders, with entrepreneurs with exits, C-suite executives, and we'll book them on other people's podcasts. Now, every once in a while, unfortunately, we will come across like kind of a huckster, somebody who's got a podcast just to like close deals, and like it's very apparent and it feels really gross, and I've been on a guest on those shows too, where it's just like a lady and they ask you 5 questions and it's just totally deadpan. And
it's not like this. It's not like a real conversation.
It's not like a real conversation at all. It's like, dude, I can tell you're doing 200 of these a week, and they're just kind of, they got hamster eyes and they're not, no one's home, so don't do that. Don't do that.
My clients, when they ask me, what should I ask? I tell them it would actually best if you don't prepare any questions so that it really becomes a conversation wherein you're interested. Because if it becomes kind of like, a uniform thing, it just, conversation, you lose the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you were doing is very, very powerful. How do you choose, curious question. So Ryan, how do you choose the podcast for your prospects? I mean, not prospect, for your clients. How would you choose the podcast that they would become part of?
It really starts with kind of their ideal outcomes, so like, what do they want to get out of this podcast interview from the audience? Probably all of them. Customer acquisition is going to be number one.
Yeah.
But we work with a lot of like venture backed or people who are raising rounds. So sometimes, it's finding new LPs, finding angels. Sometimes it's hiring talent. So if they're like, we really need 3 senior engineers, it's like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to find that audience. There's senior engineers looking for a new job, new gig. Then we'll find the podcast, and then you'll be able to have that conversation. So we really base everything on what they want to get out. What they want to get out of it is what we're going to put into it. And then, we've been doing it for 5-6 years. So we have a really deep network of all the business and technology podcasts kind of built in.
You guys are pioneers. You're probably one of the first people who thought about, I can get people in a podcast and make money out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
We were
so
one of
smart.
the first. We were one of the first. And the whole thing is cold email. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so like, of course, for our clients, we'll use cold email, but we use LinkedIn, we use ads, we use everything. But for our campaign managers, they're just pitching podcasts all day long. It's just all cold email. Hey, Royan, what's up? I got Ryan. He wants to be a guest on your podcast. We've sent millions and millions of emails, you know? And
Crazy. That's
we broke some like cardinal laws too. I mean, we were doing it so early, you could kind of get away with it, but we use our primary domain to send millions of emails, you know?
wow. Wow. Was it like personalized back then that you were doing it like manually?
Yeah, and it still is largely. We do very little sequencing as far as like booking podcasts.
Yeah.
So it's like
That
one
makes
off.
sense. Yeah.
It's one
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you kind of like have like a partner list of partners already that, okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
That's amazing.
100%. Totally. If we know like the top 10 in every single category, and it's just a matter
Makes
of, luck and timing, depending on, and fortunately our clients are very, very accomplished. So, their success is like, makes our job a little bit easier. Now,
yes.
last week I interviewed G from Jiva.ai, and I wanted to ask you about this because they have a very interesting tool that basically brings that whole stack into one. So it's a note taker, it's a meeting taker, it's outbound lead qualification, lead cleaning, lead enrichment, generative emails with scheduling and LinkedIn. Have you seen Jiva?
No, no, I haven't seen that, but there is a lot of, amazing AI tools nowadays. But yeah, tell me
Yeah.
more about it.
So the one thing that I thought was interesting is he was saying that basically like anything that shows any kind of sequencing is just getting, clamped down as we've seen. We've seen that kind of happen a little bit. So what his tool does is it tees everything up into drafts. So, once it gets everything going, it just tees it up to drafts in like Google Workspace. And then you go into your drafts folder and just sit there mind-numbingly hitting send, send, send. But you're like customizing a little bit, send, 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 send,
Yeah,
send.
yeah,
So, and I'm going to give it a shot. I've been working with it a little bit just to test like how, the deliverability, like what are the limitations on it.
nice.
Um, because obviously it can't do the volume. It can't do 10,000 a day. Yeah, I think it could do 5,000, but I mean, I think I'd blow my brains out if I had to hit send 5,000 times in a row, you
Okay.
know?
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So,
so if it's 50, then it's, I think, worth the time. It's a really
yeah,
cool tool.
yeah, yeah. And, anything that would, I think, the reason why you're a successful entrepreneur is because you're always testing, you're always studying things that's available in front of you. And, that's just what made you successful. That's pretty interesting, tool.
Yeah, it's
I'll
pretty
check.
cool. Yeah, I'll send you an email or I'll send you a link. How about you? You tried any cool tools lately?
Um, we're always testing tools. We're always testing tools. I think what is the most interesting tool that I tried? Well, it's not like a tool. It's basically kind of like a tech stack of an AI where it takes care of everything in terms of like finding the lead, doing the sequence and finding people who would raise their hand. So like cold emailing in general is not its main tool is not like for you to be able to sell so that people could buy. It's for you to find people that would raise their hands and then move it to the next step, right? It could be kind of like you're sending thousands and hundreds of thousands of emails to identify who's going to raise their hands. And then whoever would raise their hands would be added into an email list, right? And then that email list is going to nurture them even more. So in this case, we're looking into like this AI where uh, it would do everything that an SDR would do, so that the SDR would just need to take care of warm leads, and AI will take care of all of the, you know, pre outreach and research and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I think the right now we're in this weird transition phase, but it truly will be able to, we'll be connecting with the best possible people in the best possible way.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the other kind of hard thing about like you get onto sales demos and it's like the energy's off and it's like low energy. when people come onto my calendar, man, I show up with energy like this. Like, hey, son,
Yes.
what are you doing? And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what am I doing? Because ultimately it's like, dude, we're going to have a sales conversation for sure. But like, if I can help you, man, like, let's do it.
Mm,
It's,
mm.
it's, it's one of the, I think probably the only benefits of getting older. It's certainly not how your body feels. My God. But, with Kickcaster, we worked with 800 founders, so it's like, dude, what do you need? Because I can make introductions across the board. And that's one of my favorite things to do, so
Wow.
maybe we're moving towards a future where we're like our AI is pre-screening the other AIs and they're interviewing each other to see if the
Oh,
vibes would be right so that you can actually meet in real life and have a conversation. I mean, maybe that's the future of outbound.
I think it's soon. I think it's happening soon where like we will have each of us have our own AI and our AI would talk to each other, find a meeting for us that would work. It would be pretty interesting. That would be great. Be great. And I was like,
Man, totally.
find us. It would be amazing. It would be amazing. Here's a question, sir. For someone like you who's been very successful, how do you still where do you still get the energy and curiosity to connect with people and network with people? So you have 800 clients, you're doing 10 million. So you could just not do things like this. So what motivates you to do it?
Well, that 10 million was cumulatively over 5 years. It,
But still, that's 10 million.
yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, I put it this way, man. My daughter's going to college. My son's 16. He'll be in college in 2 years. I got to put bread on the table. Like, what are we doing, man? You got to strike while the iron is hot.
That
I mean,
makes
for
sense.
me personally, I like what I do. I like work. But also I'm very motivated by money. I love money,
That makes
so,
sense. Well,
make hay while the sun is shining. You know what I'm saying? It's like if
typically,
I could be done in 10 years, great. But like right now, I don't really have anything else that I enjoy doing as much.
you
You know?
probably get bored if you stop working, actually. You probably get depressed. I
Yeah.
tried that after my wedding. I didn't work for 1 month and I found myself like so sad. I was like, I want to
Oh,
work. And you're such a good conversationalist. So I think naturally you like to have a conversation with people so you don't mind connecting and talking to people. So that's amazing.
well, I tell you what, the reason I started Kickcaster is because I knew there'd be a home for it because I like talking about business. I like talking about my creative projects and stuff. So I talk to my wife about it all the time. And after about 5 seconds, her eyes just glaze over and she's like, oh my God, please stop. Nobody wants to hear about it. But if you go on a podcast, it's like, dude, I want to hear all about your business, Royan.
Yeah.
You go to your partner and they're
Yeah,
just like, stop talking about it. I want to talk about me
I
now.
know. Well, it depends on their mood. If they're in a good mood, which is not a lot of time, they would listen. But like I can totally relate. I have a wife, it's so beautiful and so amazing. But yeah,
Yes.
there are times where I'm so passionate what I need to talk about business, and she's like, and you can see in her face, she's just trying so hard to like try to not make it obvious that she doesn't want to listen. But
Yeah.
so yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right.
And it's totally normal. I'm like,
Yes.
woke up this morning doing yoga. I'm like, ah, sweet. I'm talking about email deliverability today. I love talking about that. It's possibly the most boring conversation of all time, unless
It
you,
is it is the same. It is the same thing. It's the same thing when our wives talks about the stuff that they like so much, and and this could be shopping, and we're like, I need to listen to this one even if I don't want to.
oh,
So
yeah,
it's fun. It's fun.
it goes both ways for sure.
It goes
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
ways.
I love my
Sorry.
wife to death, but she talks about her work and I'm just like, oh God, please, no, the game is on. What are we doing right now? So, so yeah, and I like the game more than anything else. Business is great,
It is
um,
again.
and it's a way to figure out what people like, and it's like very delightful to make people happy.
Yeah.
And you get to do that with business, and you also get to fail a lot and be like, I think this will make you happy, and they're like, no, that makes me mad. You're like, dang, I thought it was going to work, but it did. So,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
Royan, you dropped some real jewels here. We've got, make sure to reply to a no. Just keep the conversation going. You
Mhm.
know, we. What are some other good tips? Just kind of standard stuff that has been successful for you with outbound cold email.
It would be so again, focus on the strategy and the approach. It doesn't matter what copy would it be, it will work. And focus on finding the people that would raise their hands and then move it because there's so many ways you can do with cold email. You can kind of like, do cold email and when they showed an interest, connect with them on LinkedIn. So my point is that don't just stop on the cold email side. Try to look at things where like you've already captured all the people who's raising their hands, run ads to them so that in the next like 7 days, all they can see is your face and your offer because they've already raised their hands. So don't just stop on the cold email side in terms of like, you know, you send them a cold email and they were interested and you never even followed up. So because followed up, the money's in the follow up. And if you can automate that process, you're gonna make millions. You're gonna make millions for sure.
Yeah. My brain is tingling thinking about the podcast offer you're doing. Now, I want to fix it, almost make a rule. Like I'm not selling on cold outbound ever. The idea of like, I want to interview you for a paper is also amazing because that's also legit. Like if you have some questions and, I'm doing all this stuff in AI and whatever, and I know from doing what we did 70 episodes of this thing since January and talking to a lot of different founders, I know that all of them, even people that are, using novel training and everything else, don't feel like they're using AI enough.
Mhm.
So there's like the pain point and the anxiety around AI in particular is great. So it's like, okay, maybe now I'm not sending 10,000 emails saying like, hey, are you interested in like podcasts or whatever? It's just like, I need a little bit of feedback from you because I'm doing research on pain points with AI or something like that. There's just
Yeah.
so many different ways you can get someone to raise their hand. I love
So
that.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the most effective outbound campaigns that I ran, I was still running it until now, is inviting very, very successful CEOs. And the thing is that the more successful your target customer is, it's harder to get them in front of you because they're busy, right? This outbound campaign, we focus on can we interview you for a book that we are writing? We are looking for 100 CEOs that we can interview for a book. And it's so amazing because after those 100 interviews, you can turn that into like a book and now you have a book.
Yeah.
Now you have like 100 podcast episodes and now you have like 100 short clips you can post. It just goes bananas because you focus on creating content while having a conversation with the potential clients. So
It's a really cool idea, you
yeah.
know? Like if there was like one central question that you could ask 100 different people and get their take and turn that
Yes.
into a book, that'd be really fun. If it was like it would have to be like it'd have to be the perfect question or something, but I love it.
Yes. It will
All right.
be. It will be. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Even like, like ask them like, how would you, um, you know, recover from failure? It would be crazy to get those kind of. What would you do, in the first 30 days if you lose everything? And everyone would have different frameworks. It's going to be very, very interesting. So yeah, the point is that it doesn't have to be a podcast. It's just an approach um, to talk to people. And
Yeah.
if you like asking questions and having a conversation with people, it's definitely gonna work for you. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we're not emailers. Like we're people that want to have conversations ultimately.
Yes.
This is just a way to get someone to raise their hand. That's
Yes.
a gem, man. I really appreciate that. And it sounds like a good time to transition to the founder challenge question. Are you ready?
Yeah. I didn't know about this challenge, but let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, you got four different categories to choose from. And
Okay.
you could turn the founder challenge into a book. I've probably asked it maybe
This is
15.
so fun. This is the first podcast No, I saw this podcast, the Diary of a CEO, and there were like there were like three guests, Alex, and then there's just two, but I forgot. They're also amazing. We're given money, and okay, what would you do with that? And they're like, this thing that you're doing now, it's amazing. Like, you're super smart. You're super smart and creative. Go for it. Go for it. What's
Nice.
the
Okay.
four?
Founder challenge question. You have to pick from one of the categories. It's
Okay.
either tough, risky, explosive, or philosophical.
I go for risky.
Risky. I like it. Okay. Here we go. Nice. What's the sketchiest growth hack you've ever used?
What is the sketchiest growth hack I've ever used? On top of my mind, it's saying that it's not sketchy at all, but I think the most effective one is the interview method, actually.
Yeah. That's not sketchy though. That's
It's
great.
just sketchy, but it's so well. But if it's like a bad thing, sketchy. Um, what was that thing? Here's this thing that I like. It's basically saying that no setup fees or upfront payment. But then once you're having, and this is very good too. It's sketchy, but it's very good too. Like, because people like response when you say there's no setup fee and upfront payment, because now it's zero risk. But then once you're having a conversation with them, if you can do it the right way, they would forget that you've actually offered that in the first place.
And then just
When
charge them anyway.
yes, because when they see that, oh my God, this is so valuable, they're going to ask a question, how much? And then you go for it, and then they would forget that the very first touch point is that you said no setup fees or upfront payment. It works.
Yeah, that is sketchy.
It works. It works. Yeah, that it's
They're like,
sketchy.
hey, I thought there was no setup fee. Like, what's no setup fee? What are you talking about? It's right here.
No, that's the crazy part about this. Even the prospects forget about it because they just want the offer that you want. It's only work if you have a very, very good offer, and also you wanna pre-qualify the people you're gonna talk to. But yeah, I think that's it.
Cool.
Like, this
And
is
look-
great, but it's not.
And thanks for the honesty. I appreciate that. We're all out here trying to make a living. It's all good. You send millions and millions of emails. What is like the worst response? Because I've gotten some bad ones. Obviously, I couldn't even say it on the podcast, of people that do not like cold outbound, and they make it well known. Does anything stick out at the top of your mind?
Is it something that I can say here?
I don't know. Is it? I mean,
So,
I've got
like,
death threats.
was-
I mean,
it wasn't my campaign. It was a client's campaign, and the prospect said something like "eat your ass" or something like "eat your pussy" or something like that. And this client was a lady, but you know what's so crazy? That client of mine was able to turn it around.
really?
Yes, she responded to the person, and like in a most professional way, and the person actually kind of like, I think the person felt bad.
Yeah. Good.
Because because she's a lady, she's a woman, so like people are also more kinder to women. Oh, this is another sketchy thing. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share this in this podcast, but I think, yeah, everyone's a founder here, so everyone's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, we're all friends. It's okay.
So in my email campaigns, I use my wife's name, my sister-in-law's name, and my cousin-in-law's name. They're all ladies, because we've seen that people respond well better if the outbound is coming from a lady. And there's some like names that they like Sarah, Bea, and it works. So that's kind of like a thing that we do. So if it's like Ryan or Royan, we get less results, sir.
We get less
That's-
results. Yeah, exactly.
So, but if it's like a Rebecca and a Diane or a Michaela, you get better results. Yes.
Amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's great. Cool, man. This has been wonderful. Where can people find out about you and your company and connect with you online?
You can search me up on LinkedIn, Royan Nidea. I'm happy to say when I checked my name on ChatGPT, something showed up. So maybe you can also check me out on ChatGPT. Google my name, Royan Nidea is going to show up something. If you want to make it easier, setters.ph, you get a lot of learn more about us. And yeah, we're here to serve. Always remember, we're not here to build a business. We're here to leave a legacy.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Royan. And just for the listeners, I've worked with you and your team and just absolute pros. And like I said, just a wealth of knowledge and expertise in this very specific field, which is really hard to navigate. If anybody's been out there and had to deal with email and deliverability, it can feel desperate at times. So I appreciate your insights and thanks for coming on the show and talking to us.
It's such a pleasure, sir. You're such an amazing person to talk to all the time. I love talking to you.
Cheers. Me too, man. Hey, founders, let me ask you this. Are you building with AI or getting left behind by it? If you're serious about scaling smarter, faster, and bolder, you need to check out aiforfounders.co. It's your go-to resource for cutting through the noise and actually using AI to grow your startup. Each week, AI for Founders drops a sharp, no-fluff newsletter, dives deep with expert guests on the podcast, and hosts monthly workshops where you can get your hands dirty with the real tools and strategies. Whether you're pre-seed or Series B and beyond, launching something new, or just staying sharp, AI for Founders gives you the edge you need to win in 2025 and beyond. Hit aiforfounders.co to subscribe to the newsletter, tune into the podcast, and grab your spot in the next workshop. And it's all free. Build smarter, move faster, think bolder with AI for Founders. Now back to the show.